I want to tell you the story of the Southern Pole of Inaccessibility and the people who went there in 2007, 40 years after all other humans had abandoned it. A pole of inaccessibility is a geographical term that describes on a given landmass the point furthest from any shoreline, in a given body of water, also the point furthest from any shoreline, and in a given country, furthest from any border. So named because it's, well, inaccessible, due to its being so far into the interior of a place. So for example, the North American Pole of Inaccessibility is in South Dakota, the Oceanic Pole of Inaccessibility, also called Point Nemo, is between New Zealand, Chile, and Antarctica. Fun fact, this point is closer to outer space than any landmass, and the Italian Pole of Inaccessibility is right here, kind of between Venice, Bologna, and Milan. The Antarctic, or Southern Pole of Inaccessibility, is known to geography nerds as being one of the most difficult places to reach on our planet. It's even more difficult to get to than the South Pole, because, if you're paying attention, you should be able to get this, it's further inland from any coastline that you can sail to. The exploration of Antarctica is and has always been a fraught one due to the obvious hostility of the natural environment. It's relatively difficult even just to get to the coastline, and a lot of people attempted, failed, or even died trying to be the first ones to get to the South Pole. Today, there are people who live year-round in Antarctica, but most aren't super far into the interior, and certainly not at the Pole of Inaccessibility. In 1958, the Soviet government sent an expedition led by this guy, Yevgeny Tolstikov, to establish a research station there. They only stayed for about a week before going home because it was so cold that temperatures averaged in the -70s Fahrenheit. But they were followed in 1964 by another Soviet team, then again in 1965 by an American one, then again in 67 by another Soviet one, and then it was abandoned for 40 years. That is until January 19th, 2007, when a group of 4 guys, 3 Brits and a Canadian, led by Henry Cookson, decided to see if they could get there via kite skiing, and to see if a specific Soviet-era relic was still there. Departing from another Russian research station much closer to the Antarctic coast, but still 1,093 miles away from their destination, it took them roughly 48 days through a featureless, flat wasteland where the sun didn't set, until they saw what they described as this black dot on the horizon. As they got closer and closer, it revealed itself to be a life-sized bust of Vladimir Lenin, set up by the Soviets atop the chimney of the original research station in the late 50s, but since covered by decades of snow buildup until it was pretty much at eye level. In 1965, the Americans had swiveled him so that he faced toward Washington, D.C., and then in 67, the Soviets swiveled him back to face Moscow.